Hello everyone. Today we are going to see the module number 3 related to the design thinking. In module number 3, it is defining the problems and ideas for the IoT applications. So previously you have to connect with the users, and in the module 1 you have look on the 5 key principles of design thinking, and here in empathy, and what are the different ways and pillars of empathy, and what is meaning of user research, what are the different type of research is available, and how to perform the research to develop the solution. So these are the module we have seen in the earlier video. Now we are going to see the module number 3. It is about to defining the problems, and after defining the problems, how to create the idea for particular applications. Now here in the module number 3, you are going to see on how to create the storyboards, user journeys, and evaluate and prioritize the idea based on the feasibility, impact, and user needs, and generate the creative and user-centric ideas with various ideation techniques, and formulate clear and actionable problem statements. So in this module, you are going to be able to define the problem statement clearly, and based on the problem statement, based on the problem statement, you can able to derive the different ideas. So this is the basic things we are going to be look on the unit number 3, module number 3. So here, how to introduction to the problem definition. How to define the problem. So the first thing you have to understand, design thinking means it is a understanding and solving the various real world problems. Here the problem definition, how to define the problem. Acting of frame an issue that guides the solution finding process. Problem means you have to define the problem that has to give the solution finding process. Next, here, whatever the problem you are defining, it in terms of human needs and desires, because whatever the solution I am going to be provide, it is going to address only the human needs only. So accordingly, you have to define the problem which needs to be address the human and desire. Why I here to define the problem? Because most of the cases we are working on the solution without knowing the exact problem. So the end output is going to be get disturbed or distracted because of the origin. So here you have to understand the role of clarity. The role of clarity means if you are going to work on any kind of design challenge, first you have to set the boundaries, because the time frame is more important to work on the design frame. And next, ensure the alignment among the team members. For example, your group of members are working in the real scenario. You are choosing your group with 4 members. If you see your groups, only one person can work on your project group or in capstone model. Others not are going to be working with you. So he thinks that the leader can do anything. So here in design thinking process, your team members has to be work along with you, and he has to be, or he or she has to be work accordingly to give the solution. And here next serve as a reference point, and the solutions are directly addressing the user pain points. So which is the pain points are addressed in the empathy module, and differentiating the symptoms and root cause, because whenever you are going to give any kind of solution, you have to analyze the root cause for the problems. So here the device keep losing its connection. So this is not a case. So the root cause, the software bug causing the device to restart intermittently. So most of the cases you are saying that I am developing as some IoT solution. The device is keeping losing its connection. So the device has started automatically. So you think that it is a problem with the hardware, but actually, what is the actual problem? If you analyze this in carefully, the root cause is a software bug which happens the devices to be restart automatically. So this is the differentiating the symptom from the root cause. So you have to clearly analyze the root cause from the basic symptoms. For example, you are going to the doctor. So while talking to the doctor, he will check all the parameters, check all parameters from your body, and after that he asks you what are the things what happens to you, and what is your physical problem, whether you have a fever, cough, or cold. So after getting all the information from you, he analyzes a certain basic symptoms. Accordingly, he will prescribe the medicines. So this is a way we also have to do the root cause analysis for any kind of problem to understand the depth of the problem. Now you can see the real world example. So here the real world example is a first example we are taking about the temperature regulation and irregular maintenance. See a second scenario, there are too many notification, system is too sensitive. So these are the things to be avoided because too many notification it makes irritates to the user. Again, here the temperature regulation. If I say that my IoT device is not properly do the temperature regulation properly, or it is not able to monitor the temperature properly, it means that I am doing the irregular maintenance. So my maintenance is not satisfactory on the regular basis. So that's why the devices causes the errors in the reading. Similarly, if I am connecting all the smart home appliances and IoT devices, here my if I am going to receive multiple notification within an hour, so I am getting irritated. The system is too sensitive to give the information to the users. So you have to understand accordingly how many notifications has to be notified to the user, as well as how many things, how many information has to be reached the users per hour or per minute has to be decided. Accordingly, you have to program the devices. So too much of information is not good for the things, and too much of less information also not good for the thing. So you have to balance in this way. And here, key takeaways. So from the previous slides, you able to understand what is the meaning of problem definition and what is the role of clarity between you and the team members, and how to differentiate the symptoms from the root cause, how to analyze everything from the root cause. Next, techniques for defining the IoT application problems. So what are the different techniques to define the certain problems in the IoT applications? Now, understanding the user's perspective. User's perspective means it is a customers, those who are coming here for the design. So here you have to engage directly with the users and provide insights to the needs, pain points, and expectation. Next, you have to conduct the user interview, focus groups, and feedback sessions are essentials. So the first thing you have to directly interact. Second thing, you have to conduct the interview, and as well as the feedback has to be taken. It is mandatory to analyze the insights. And next one, you have to look on the pattern, recurring themes, and underlying issues. So these are the different things the designers has to take care while designing any kind of product. Before going to defining the problem, you have to ask the 5 why techniques. What is 5 whys? Here, if you see, this is a problem. Thermostat is not maintaining the right room temperature. This is my problem. First why, it deals with the device isn't receiving the correct data. First question I am making a why. My devices is not receiving the correct data. Second why, my sensor are malfunctioning. Is the sensor is malfunctioning? Third one, Is my sensor affected by the another devices? Fourth, why? My sensor were improperly shielded. So this is a fourth why. And fifth why. Changes in the manufacturing process. Whether I need to change my manufacturing process of thermostat. So these are the different five whys. If you are looking on any kind of problem statement. So for example, I can say my smart meter is not functioning properly. You have to put a five why five wise techniques here. So you have to question yourself and you have to ask the question of five why related to the smart meter functioning, why related to the smart metering functioning. So then you can able to easily understand the root cause analysis. It is a common method for apply for all kind of problems, not only for the IoT. The next one is the fishbone or Ishikawa diagram. So what is the meaning of Ishikawa and fishbone diagram? So if you see the structure, it is looking like a fish. So it is a body of the fish and this is called as a head of the fish. It's look like a wings. Okay. It is a kind of visual tool used to identify present causes for the specific problem. If you Google the fishbone diagram template, you may get a n number of template in the Google. With the help of template, you can able to fill the academic things also, not only for the solving the problems. It help you to identify where you are lagging and where you are going to be reach. So all the things can be done with the help of fishbone diagram. So here you can able to easily understand what is your problem. Identifying the problem is the basic thing. So identifying the problem can be done, and present causes, what is your present cost for the problem also you can able to easily identify. Here you can see the problem or effect is written in the head. So what is the problem? So this is called as a head. And the possible causes are in the bones. So here you can see it is a bones. So here once again, so this is a head of the fish. Here you have to mention the problem or effect. So for this problem, what are the causes? For example, you can say I am not sleeping well. So sleeping well is your problem. So this is called as a head. Again, what are the different ways? What are the different causes? It not you to make to sleep well. So you think the first cause will be using mobile phone at a night. More notifications. Again, I can go for the depth analysis also, where you are getting a notification, WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram, and again, what is the member you may get a notifications. So these are the different ways. Here the causes has to be mentioned in the bones, and the problem has to be mentioned in the heads. So this is a kind of analyzing the problem and identifying the problem with the root cause. So here similarly you can see these are the causes and these are the effects or problems. And another thing, before defining any kind of problems, include the SWOT analysis applicable to us also. So while dealing with the SWOT analysis, the SWOT, the S stands for the strength, and W stands for the weakness, O stands for the opportunity, and the T stands for the threats. Here, strength means what is your system capabilities, and weakness, what are the different technical constraints applicable with the devices, opportunities, areas for enhancements. So if I am designing a devices, how could I make my devices to measure multiple appliances? So that is called as the areas for enhancement. Next, potential risk or external changes, challenges. It means that my devices is born to the threat attack, because I can able to easily hijack my IoT devices. Accordingly, you can able to attack the devices through the cyber attacks. What are the different securities I can plan for avoiding these threats? So these are the things has to be analysis with the help of SWOT analysis. Next, here for the any kind of problem, you have seen what are the different five whys technique, fishbone or Ishikawa diagram, and the SWOT analysis. So these are the methods you can use it to analyze any problems or effects with respect to the causes, or else it is called as a root cause analysis. The coming to the next, so previously we have to identify the problem. After identifying the problem, the most enhancing skill is the crafting the actionable problem statement. If you are good in a actionable create crafting the actionable state problem statement, you are a good designer, as well as you are giving a solution for the end user in the user centric mode. So that is the main thing while talking about the actionable problem statements. While defining any good problem, it should have a clarity and focus, and it relates with the user centric, feasibility, and measurability. So the measurability means that is the time frame is there, as well as whether it is possible to execute on the particular period of the time or durations. So these are the things are we can call as a measurability. For example, I am doing a project. There is a certain deadlines I have to monitor. So these are the things while defining the problem statement. You have to look on these characteristics. Your problem statement should contain the clarity words and focus on the particular problem, and focuses on user centric approach, and as well as feasibility. Feasibility here deals with the robustness, costing, equipment availability, material equipment or material availability, and you think on the maintenance after using these materials. So these are the things are you have to take care of the feasibility. And next one is the measurability. So these are the things you need to take care and do and don'ts. So while defining any problem statement, you should be conscious and involve the stakeholders and iterate. So you have to perform the iterations for defining the problem statement, because the single immediately the problem statement cannot address any kind of solutions. So you have to iterate, and you don't. You should not assume anything based on the user data. So avoid the assumptions. Don't assume yourself to define any kind of things. So you have to steer the clear of solution. Avoid the vagueness while preferring any solutions. So it means that you have to be interact with the users whenever you are going to define the problem statement, and also you have to involve your group members. Don't decide anything in the mm, individually or independently. Framework for crafting the problem statements. What are the different framework? How to define the problem statement? First thing, you have to start with the user insights. Next, define the core problem. What is the major core problem? And next, you have to frame in it in the user centric approach. Fourth one is a validate, because after framing the problem statement, you have to validate. If it needs a redefinition, you have to go for the refinement process. So in the refinement process, you have to redefine the problem statement again. It means simply we can say that it is a corrections or updations of the problem statement. So here you can see the problem statement, weak statement. Our IoT device should work better. So this is the kind of statement, it is very weak, and also it never up to the mark of problem statement. While talking about the problem statement, you can see the strong statement. How might me? So here you can see we have seen this module. How might me? So HMW questions. How might me? How might we extend the battery life of our IoT wearable to ensure that fitness enthusiastic can track their week-long trek without frequent recharging? So here they are talking on the problem statement is looking on recharging cycle of the battery. So, recharging cycle of the battery, they have to avoid the frequent recharging, and the battery has to withstand for the week. And those who are the sports enthusiastic, they no need to do the recharging frequently. So these are the things you crafting the problem statement effectively to address these much of solutions. So for that you must to understand what is the user need. Here you can see what are the issues. It is a too vague, lacks the user's perspective, does not highlight the actual problem. Now you can see, I can simply say that our IoT device should work better. But this is a very, very poor problem statement. Now here you can see, I may get a clarity, focus, and understanding and user-centric. User-centric means here who is the user-centric? The fitness enthusiastic is the user-centric. So, and it is a tangible challenge. Tangible means here you are saying that without frequent recharging. So, you clearly mentioned the problem statement, what you are going to address to provide the solutions. Key takeaways, characteristics of the good problem, do's and don'ts, and framework. What are the how the framework used to craft the problem statement. Now coming to the activity, now you can see the crafting a problem statement. So this is a kind of activity based on the previous slides, and you can able to judge the understanding of the problem statement, how to craft the problem statement. Below are the mixed components that are essential for crafting an effective problem statement in context of IoT applications. So here you have to drag these things and places into the order. Places into the order accordingly. So here there are the different statements are given. These statements has to be arranged in the order from 1 to 6. It looks like crafting a problem statement. Now, so you can see the first problem statement you have to identify from the below sentences. Identify user perspective. Next, after identifying the user perspective, you should have to focus on root cause. This is the second one. After focusing on the root cause, you have to employ 5 why technique. So next to the 5 why technique, you can see the you may be able to understand the what is the next thing you have to do it. So after employing a 5 why technique, you have to draft a clear and measurable statement. And next, after drafting a clear and measurable statement, you have to go with the step of create user centric. So now your problem statement has been created, and created problem statement you have checked with the user centric. Next, after creating the problem statement, you have to evaluate with SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, what is the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So you have to analyze the problem statement in terms of strength, in terms of weakness, in terms of opportunity, in terms of threats. So this is a way, it is a order to craft any kind of problem statements. Next is the ideation techniques for IoT solution. What is the different ideation techniques we are going to you proposing for the IoT solution? Not only IoT solution, it is applicable for any kind of problems. Here ideation means how to create the ideas, and the ideas, it has to be, if you're talking on ideas, it is going to be act as a bridge between the concept and actualization. So some thoughts are in my mind, that has to be make it visible in my eyes. So that is called as the ideation. Ideation process is whatever the things which is going in my mind as a concept, that has to be actualization of the physical process, and ensures that the solutions are aligned with the, both the technological possibilities and as well as the user needs, and facilitates open dialogue questions and encourage out of box thinking. So don't always think inside the box. You should have to think outside the box to identify in the challenges in the existing problem methods. So diverse ideation techniques. It is vital to understand and apply a range of ideation techniques. So here, these are the list of ideation techniques we can use it to uh, create the ideas for any kind of problem statement. Because your problem statement is crafted, after creating the problem statement, you have to define the idea. So for defining the idea or drafting the idea, you must do certain kind of techniques. So here there are the different techniques. It is a brainstorming sessions, brain writing, how might be questions, mind mapping, role play, storyboards. So these are the different ways you are able to craft the ideas and generate the ideas from this kind of techniques. In brainstorming means simply you have to put a problem in the team group, and the team member voices the ideas in non-judgmental settings. So every team member ready to give the solution. You just take the solution which is given by the group members. Next, brain writing means ask the team members to write down the areas and ideas as well as. So through the writing, you may get a certain clarity than the speech. So nowadays, instead of brainstorming session, most of the companies preferring only brain writing sessions, because you have to draft it clearly on the paper. So it gives more clarity in addressing. And next one is the how might we question. Shift mindsets from constraints to possibilities. So for example, when I am going to say some task, you say it is not possible. I am saying that you have to listen the 4 videos within a week and you have to fill the quiz form. So our mindset is we are restricted with the constraints. We simply say it is not possible. I didn't have a time to do this. So immediately you not look on the possibilities. You always look on the constraints. So here these constraints will be break with the help of how might be questions. And next one is a mind mapping. In mind mapping, visually map central ideas connected to the related sub ideas. Mind mapping means, for example, now one idea is coming over here. So this is called as a main. So from the main idea, I am getting some sub clusters also. So these can be clustered with idea. This is idea number 1. It is idea 1.1, idea 1.2. So likewise, some sub clusters or sub ideas will frame under the idea 1. That has to be map it in the order. It has to be written in the chart. Then only you can be able to focus how you can rearrange or how you can use the idea to address the problem. Next one is the role play. Step into the user shoes. It means that you think on the user shoes and accordingly you have to perform the role play to the team. So accordingly, the team members will addresses the things. Next one is a storyboarding. Storyboarding means lay out the user's journey. For example, today I am used to draft the problem statement. Just I have to stick these on my journey board, storyboarding. After drafting, what are the different problem statements you have drafted? After problem statements, what are the different ideas you have been get it? Idea 1, idea 2, idea 3. So it has to be put it on your storyboard. Whenever you are going to see the storyboard, you can able to easily do the analysis which is feasible for you or not. Now you can see the key takeaways. Ideations paves the way for groundbreaking solution. Incorporate the mix of techniques. These are the key takeaways from the previous slide. So what are the different techniques we are using? So we can say brainstorming, it is a discussion, brain writing, so mind mapping. So likewise, there are the totally 6 techniques we are using to draft the ideas. Now this is an activity, ideation and prioritization. So below are the steps and techniques that are crucial in ideation and prioritization process for the IoT solution. So drag and drop these numbers into the current sequence in which typically be executed. So now there are the different statements are given. So you have to clearly identify which statement is coming first and which statement is coming in the next order. So here the order has been mixed. So now your activity is to be arrange the statement according to the ideation and the prioritization process in IoT solution. Now you can see, so evaluating ideas based on feasibility and viability and desirability. So this is statement 1. Mapping the complete user experience, statement 2. Generating individual thoughts and concepts via brain rating. Okay, statement 3. Gathering drivers ideas through brainstorming. Now you can see they are using a brain rating and a brainstorming and visualize the user interaction using a storyboard also. So almost the 3 techniques, ideation techniques are going to be here. These are the user-centric approach. Now you can see generating individual thoughts and concepts via brain rating. So this is the coming as a first. First step is to you have to generating individual thoughts and concepts via brain rating. And next one is a visualize user interaction using storyboard. So this is the step number 2 you have to perform. And next one is mapping the complete user experience. This is the step number 3. And next one, so you have to evaluate the ideas based on the feasibility, viability and desirability. So this is the step number 4. And after all the things is done, you have to go with the group discussion. You have to pull the ideas with your groups and you may get which is the feasibility, viability or desirability. So this is the step number 5. So this is the way we arranged the crucial in ideation and prioritization process for IoT solutions. So here in the particular topic, we have to understand what is brainstorming and brain writing. Brainstorming means it is a group idea technique. So now you can see they have created some user journey maps. So here also you can see. So after generating individual thoughts and concepts via brain wiring, it directly goes to the visualizing the user interaction with the storyboarding. So similarly, you can see the image. They have generate the thoughts, and after that they are put in a storyboard, and after that they will go for the group ideation techniques and generating a variety of ideas in the short span of time. So it is generally it is just like a group discussion model for your well understanding. Advantages and pitfalls. Advantages, diversity of thoughts. Your group members will give n number of thoughts, whether it is feasible or not. You may get a n number of diversity of thoughts. Rapid idea generation and collaborative spirit will take place. But pitfalls, the dominance of the vocal participants, because in a company you may have a superior, senior, so they will dominate you when you are going to give the ideas. It usually happens, or based upon the location. If you are coming from, so there is some certain kind of dominance will happen while giving the idea in the common group. And conformity, so your idea cannot be have the things. And next, lack of structure while proposing the ideas in the group discussions. So these are the pitfalls which usually happen in the brainstorming sessions. Brain rating. Brain rating is an alternative to the brainstorming. Here, participants asked to write down the ideas individually rather than voicing them out loud. So you can see, so everyone has to write the idea in the group. So they have to think on their own, and they have to draft the ideas in the paper. So here, it advantages ensures equal participation, it reduces the biases, and here the participant will give the structured output, and it fosters individual creativity also. While if you are saying that if I am doing a group discussion, so immediately what you are going to do, you have to say some answers. So immediately you are opening your mouth and you are giving answers to the solution, whether it is feasible or not. If you are compared to writing, you have to think twice, then speak, or you have to think twice before writing. So while writing, it gives a clear clarity, what is your thought, and it creates the creativityism is involved in during the writing process. So that's why we are talking about the brain writing process. And how to apply the brain writing in IoT solutions. So here, draw upon the unique experiences, insights, technical design and user standpoint, and a technical expert has to be proposed a novel sensor integrations. First, you have to use user experience. User experience, how you are going to get? It is through the empathy process. After that, you have to do the user research with the help of technical expert for proposing the solution for the sensor integration. So now, from the previous slides, you may easily identify and understand what is meant by brainstorming, what is brain writing, and in context of IoT solution, how to do the ideation process. Idea prioritization and selection criteria. Idea prioritization means not every idea is worth pursuing. For example, in a group, you may get a lot number of ideas, but you have to check whether this idea is working or not. So that's why we are saying that not every idea is worth pursuing. Addresses the needs of user, align with the broader business objectives. So business also plays a matter and role in the generation process, or as well as in the prioritization process. Because if I say I am going to select some idea and investing so much of money compared to the minimum money, so the investment plays the role while developing any kind of solutions. So you have to think on both the angle, that is, we can say that it is a business objective. And framework and criteria for selection. So here, what is the criteria for selection is you have to check the feasibility, desirability of the users, and viability of the users. So all the thing has to be mapped well in these structures. So viability and feasibility has to be mapped up properly, and desirability and viability has to be mapped up properly, and feasibility and desirability has to be mapped properly. So this is the basic criteria for selecting any kind of idea prioritization process. Now you can see desirability. What is the meaning of desirability? Desirability terms related with the user perspective. Feasibility, whether idea can be technically realized, whether idea can be technically converted as a thing, it is possible or not. And viability, focus on the economic aspect. Economic aspect means my idea has to be converted into a product. So I need a material, costing, and all the things, all the parameter has to be analyzed over here. So that's why we can say the feasibility and viability, and desirability and viability, and feasibility and desirability. So here it deals with the users, here it deals with the idea is able to convert into the proper technical form, and viability after conversion you have to check with the economical aspects also. Tools for idea prioritization. So here, this is a called a chart, or it is a called, you can see this is a chart method, impact versus effect matrix. Impact versus effect matrix means here you can say the y-axis lies in the impact and x-axis lies in the effect. Here, the ideas are plotted on the matrix based on the impact and the effect. So if you say ideas, so this is a effect, this is a low, this is a high. Impact, this is a low margin, this is a high margin. Now you can see quick wins. Quick wins, so you have to put a more effect, then only the impact will get more. Major projects, you have to take a more effect, then only you may able to create the effect. So likewise, you have to plot the idea in the effect, impact, and effect matrix for the idea prioritization process. Next one is a dot voting. Dot voting means it is a kind of voting process. For example, you may already seen this kind of voting process. If you're saying that I need to select the company CEO, so all the board of directors has to choose the CEO. He has to be the CEO. So the board, based on the voting of the board of directors, then only you can able to select it as a CEO. So when you're having a multiple ideas, if the ideas are putting into the forum, so through the voting process, how many people saying that it is possible to convert the idea into the prioritization. So accordingly, they have to use the dot voting method, and dot voting process, it gives the amount of dot based on the dots. The idea has to be selected for the another level of process. It is the simplest way for the idea prioritization. For example, I am saying that this idea is easily converted into fit for the technical transformation. So I am having a group of peoples. For example, group 10 peoples are available. I am putting this idea into the group. I ask you to put a vote. Whether it is technically possible, yes, no. So here almost 7 people say yes, 3 people say no. So immediately the 7 people said yes. So this is the majority vote. So this idea can be proceeded for the further processing. So this is a tool for idea prioritization. And balancing the stakeholder interest, technical teams prioritize the scalability, performance, and integration capabilities, and business stakeholders. Return of investment, ROI means it is a return of investment, market positioning, and strategic alignment has to be taken. And again, you have to think on the user functionality, usability, and values. So these are the stakeholders' interest. Before converting any idea into the technical transformation, and the technical transformation will happen to create the product. So before launching any kind of product into the market, you have to balance all the stakeholder interest in your ideas. Methods to manage and mediate the conflicting issues. So stakeholder workshops and prototyping feedback loop. So stakeholder workshop means you are getting a data from the stakeholders. After that, you are going for the developing a prototype. After developing the prototype, you have to establish that prototype in some field for testing. So while performing a test, you may get a feedback loop from the stakeholders. So this is the way it is going to be work. Now you can see the stakeholder data's prototype. Prototype, after completion of prototype, the feedback loop has to be happens. The feedback again check with the stakeholders. If there is any improvement, again the flow chart is going in this fashion. Key takeaways: idea prioritization aligns users, feasibility, viability and desirability, and different tools for prioritization. Tools for prioritization, it is a voting process as well as it is an impact effect matrix and balancing the stakeholder interest while converting the problem into the technical perspective. Next, you can deal with the storyboarding and user journeys. So, how to create the storyboards and how to create the user journey experiences for any solution, especially we are dealing with the IoT solutions. Storyboarding means, for example, you have to stick the charts in your places, visual representation for user interactions, and how users will navigate, interact with, benefit from various systems. For example, I need to purchase a material. So, where are the materials are available? Material 1, material 2, material 3. For the case I am saying. So, what is the cost of the material? And what is the guarantee? And lifespan. So these are the different things I need to perform the analysis. So here I am developing some storyboard. I am getting all the information into my storyboard to see the analysis. So the teams also can see the user journey through the physical and digital domains of the IoT solutions. Crafting the effective use journey maps. What is the journey maps? Awareness. First step is awareness. It is a step-by-step process. And next you have to perform the research. Next you have to purchase the things. And fourth step is a setup. And fifth step is the regular use. So likewise, the journey map you have to use to provide the touch point values and enhance the user experience. It is just like a journey maps is how your journey started from drafting the understanding the user insights through the empathy process to final transformation process. Here you can use storyboards, you can use the user journeys, or you can utilize both the things for interacting with the users. So here from this module, you have understand something related to how to define the problem, and after defining the problem, what are the different methods to create the ideas for IoT applications. So we have seen the 5 whys techniques because it is going to uncover the root cause of all the problem. After that, you are looking at the SWOT analysis, which identifies strength, weakness, and opportunities and threats for any problem. Because after defining the problem statement, you have to go for the analysis to create the ideas. So for this, you have to understand the techniques, 5 whys and SWOT analysis, and the fishbone and the Ishikawa diagram. Here, Ishikawa diagram, you have to cause and effect as well as cause and effect or problems has to be drawn in the bone structure. So directly or indirectly, it is going to link with the interaction in the real world ground needs. And during the ideation process, there are the different tools are available to craft the ideas, brainstorming, brain wiring. So here the brain wiring, most of the cases they are using a brain wiring to draft the thoughts into the paper. So some cases they are using a brainstorming at the end of the discussions. And the next one, they can use the storyboarding method. Storyboarding or use journey maps. How the user traveling from different areas and how he crosses the different ideas. So by mastering all the tools and approaches, the learners can create the IoT solution that are innovative and practical and deeply aligned with the user needs and clarity that ensure the solution are not only technically sound but also meaningful and impactful in the applications. So this is a simple way how to draft the problem statement and how to create the idea for the drafting the problem statement. Thank you.